All right, little one on the step up. Actually, we're going to talk about just practices of quality control and standards for a step up progression, both a low bench step up and just a regular step up. There's a number of different versions of it, but just some things to think about. When you are doing the step up, you want to make sure that for this, which this would be considered a high bench step up, by the way. So when someone has their foot up on the box, if their kneecap is above their hip crease, it's probably going to involve a lot of their glute on that leg. So it'd be a key contributor to the exercise. As my foot gets lower, obviously, you can see that my knee is below my hip. So it's largely, just think of my brain, it's largely just a terminal knee extension activity. Meaning I just need to get to straightening that leg out in order to do the task. When I get to this height, knee becomes above the hip, I'm probably going to have to involve, and you can even do it by asking the person even to shift a little bit of load before they even start on the activity. They'll start to feel it in that side glute when they do it. So it could be a good, key thing for you to discuss with them as they start the activity. But a couple points that I want to consider is less around what it should look like, but two main things I want you to focus on for a coach. First and foremost, we need to have balance between right to left. And I mean picky, be really picky on the balance from right to left. So as a coach, you want to view it from a couple different ways. So you want to look at it from straight on, so meaning that the kneecaps are facing you, and you want to look at it from 45-degree angle as they complete each leg. Because what you're going to be able to see is valgus, you're going to be able to look and see if there's any hip imbalances when they do it, and then from the 45-degree, you're going to be able to see differences in weight shifts when they do the step up. So the main thing you're looking for there is the mechanics of it in loading from right to left side, and to ensuring you have balance in the technique, which I guess they're two in the same, but they're kind of not. So I need to explain that a little bit more. But you want to have pressure the exact same way up and down from both right to left. So what I mean by that is let's just call it a forced rep on the right side. This would be a right side step up rep. Just watch my body. So a forced rep is that, okay? So what I had to do in order to adapt to make that exercise happen is I needed to, and my brain is just thinking, well, he needs to get up on top of the box, so he needs to do whatever is necessary to do it. So I'm going to put my weight over the top of where I need to push the force, and as I do that, as I'm trying to extend this leg and extend this hip, my brain just says, you're going to go to the most powerful position to do it, so it scoots the bum back. I bend over more, and now just think of it, how does anyone get up from a squat like this position? They basically just do it by using their back. So they just extend their mid-back through their low back in order to get up. So for that step-up position, if you end up having people that scoot their bum back, it simply could just be a cueing. But what you're looking for is that same shin angle movement from right side to left side. So I'm not saying that it's okay for both sides to look like that, but I'd much rather have equality from right to left looking like that as opposed to the left looking like, and I tried to make that as tight as possible, and the right side being, like that, okay? So your goal for the activity is to press into the box. I would even ask people to slow down the concentric action in order for you to do that, to make sure that you're prescribing it so they stay within the pieces of it. I see this exercise used way too aggressively with loading, different kinds of loading, choosing Russian step-ups and other activities before they actually get really good at a high bench step-up. So I would ask that you do a 2-second up, a 1-second control, and a 3 to 4 second down, and a 1-second control at the bottom. So that would be 4, 1, 2, 1, as would be the best tempo that you could start people with on this. In prescription, I'd rather you choose the weaker limb first, or the one that you saw may need some work, that same side glute, core. You may have picked up from the assessment, you may want to focus on that. You may have seen something in the split stance or in the step up which requires some tweaking on that. And then obviously you can balance it out right to left with different cues, R&T, whatever is necessary to make the exercise happen. But main thing, you got to have that right to left balance, and you have to, like I said in mechanics, and they want to be putting the same pressure through right to left on each side. In prescription, I would much rather you do all the weaker limb first, all the repetitions of the weaker limb first. Take a breather, and then do all the left. Because remember, as I'm doing the right leg by itself, this other side adductor in a free open space, as well as my low back and core, still has to work in order to do the step up, right? So if I just finish doing 13 on my right leg, and then I go to my left, remember that my core was just used in order to put force into that right side. So I may just want to do all the repetitions on the right, take a breather, do some texting, Instagram post or whatever, and then come back on the left side and repeat the same repetition, same load. Now, if this guy's really strong, I still want to come back here and do the same reps on this side. So even though this may be stronger, I don't want to add more load here or do more repetitions. I just want to get this guy recognizing that this guy's got to come up to par to how strong the left guy is, if it was an imbalance between my right to left to make sense. So just a quick review on that. Watch it from the front and the side as a coach so you can see knee valgus, placement of foot, and then watch from the side so you can see that shifts in hips that occur when folks do it. Quick carryover to low bench step up, no difference in what we're looking for or no difference in what you're going to get from the person from the side. The difference in a low bench step up, if it's not obvious, I have a very small range of motion. So if I have a very small range of motion, I'm just focusing on terminal knee extension. In most cases, if you can see it, the VMO, right, the hockey muscle, cycling muscle, this big guy here, well, big on me. If you played hockey like I did or biked as much as I did, that's how it's developed. The great thing around it is it helps stabilize the knee, ankle, and hip structure for any kind of knee flexion activity. It's also very important for ground contact time. So it's very healthy to have a, let's just say, a good working VMO. And this exercise here can focus on that. The reason why it does, because my range of motion is shortened, right? I don't have that big, hamstring, glute, low back connection that's needed in order to perform this activity. But as a coach, same thing. Watch it from the front, watch it from the side, because I still want to have, even though this is a very small range of motion, I need it looking like that, just like when I do it on my left side. And I need to watch it from the side so that if people get tired, they don't get into a hip shift as well, even though it looks like a very simple activity. Most times the low bench step up, to be completely honest, just past the ankle complex like this is probably the perfect height to choose with people. And in most cases, I'll tell you, if I've prescribed this 1,000 times, 980 times, people have been surprised as to how frickin' tough it is, if it's done effectively, okay? So tempos that are best for this are controlled down with weight on the outside of the foot that's being used. And if you look at my other foot, I want my toes up and my legs locked. So what that does, it basically can create an anterior tightness of my core on this side, but it also allows me not to push off the floor as I'm doing the step up with the right leg, okay? So weight is on the outside of the foot. That knee can track over the second, third toe if you want as a cue for someone. But weight on the outside of the foot can be a better cue for individuals. They're going to lower down, trying to keep their pelvis, just tell them to try to keep it like a tabletop, right? Nice and flat. Their heel is going to touch the ground, and then they're going to push off and stand back up again. So control down to heel touches, and then push off and stand up. I'm actually getting a little bit of a Trendelenburg or a positive hip shift when I do that, so I'm going to try to correct myself and make sure my hips stay aligned. That was a little bit better there. So if your client doesn't recognize that, give them a cue on it and tell them they don't want, a droopy hip as they do it, and then make sure they're doing the same repetitions the other side. When you start with individuals on this, you will need no weight to start. Get them to do motor control of like 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up, over and over. And get into a good amount of repetitions on this puppy, and they should feel, and I'll turn to the side, hopefully you can still see it. They should feel, so if I'm, actually you won't be able to tell that, but you can basically get them to tap themselves on the outside of their hip, right? Just to tap, tap, tap as they're doing it if they wish. And they will feel this nice real burn and connection between their outside of their hip and their VMO to be used. And then you're probably in the right arena with what kind of muscles are tingling and being used. That doesn't mean that it's a wrong exercise. They don't feel that there, because with some people in fitness, they're like, oh, I felt it in my wrist as I was doing it. It's like, okay, well, good. The exercise was good. I'm not sure why you felt it in your wrist. So just be cautious of that, but make sure they recognize that VMO and that glute is being used on it. Recap on the step-ups themselves. Coaches, look at it from the front, look at it from the side, make sure they have right to left balance. In prescription, focus on the weak leg first, make sure you don't get that hip shift. And if you're gonna take anything from this, do not overload or make this exercise super complex. It doesn't look that sexy, but when the step up is done correctly, if you can just imagine if I was to do, 15 of these with a controlled tempo like that, where I'm not pushing off the floor off the back leg, I'm not holding on to the bench with this foot that's dragging, that's a nice piece of work in order to focus on, trying to gain some really great single leg strength from right to left. Same thing on the low bench step up. I'm taking a bit more of the glute, low back hamstring connection out of this, focusing only on the quad or aspects of the quad, but a great exercise for squat mechanics, ground contact time, and just like a back end single leg activity to help people. So those are the step ups. If you got any questions on, how to load it appropriately, the difference in, loading on the back versus front rack versus Russian step up or another way you've seen a step up done, don't hesitate to ask some questions on it. But I hope you picked up some things there to enhance your exercise selection of a step up.